Now we're going to be taking a look at forms, and you go over to forms, you hover over it, and you see that we have several options over here. This one's going to be a little bit more detailed of a video. You might want to grab a snack, something to drink to be able to make it through this, but we will get through these things as quickly as we can. Click on forms over here, and you can see the forms that we have already created. And we have the titles here, views, entries, conversion rate, things that could be useful to you. First, we're going to look within a form and see what it's like inside here. They're very simple to use for the basic functionality. Now, it can be as complex as you want it to be. You can make it do amazing things, but as it is, you can do something very simple as well. Over here we have name, email, message, very simple form. You find these things over here for name and email. Let's say we want to add phone. You simply click on phone, and then here it is. You want to move it up here. You click, you drag, and it's there. We want to look at some more details of this section here, the phone section. And then you can go in here and you can change some things. If we want to say something besides phone, like cell phone, then you can. If we want to change the phone format so that it's not a US number but an international number, we can. If you'd like to make it so that this is a required part of the form to be able to submit it, then you click required and it's there. If you want it to be that only one person can use this phone number when submitting a form, you click it, and now only one person can use it. In our appearance over here, you do a placeholder. If there's a number that you want to have in there just to make sure they understand fully what the idea is, then you could go 555, 555, that. I think most people know how to enter a phone number though, so it should be okay. You could change where the description goes. See over here we have this description also, and it can go along with it. And so we say, please use a real phone number, or we will not call you. Right now it's below. We could make it so that it goes above, and then we go above that box there. You could have a different validation message here. And by validation message, what we mean is if someone does not do this correctly, then we can have something else appear besides the default. You probably don't want to change that. Custom CSS class, then there's nothing that we're going to cover with that right now. It could be useful, but not something that's quite within the scope of this training video. You can change the field size so that it's a larger or smaller place to enter your phone number. It's not going to appear up here, it will only appear on the form. Under advanced, then we can give it a different label. If there's some reason that we don't want it to be that it would be called phone when the form is actually submitted to us. This doesn't change what they see. This is only what shows up on the form that is given to you after they have filled it out. We could make it so that we say primary phone number instead, if that is useful to you for some reason. A default value is a number that you have in there beforehand. If you think that it's going to be a certain number, then you could make it so that it is that number, and then that would be what it would be filled in with if they didn't do anything else. Probably not something you're going to do on a phone number. Maybe for something else it would be, though. Visibility, do you want everyone to see this or only the admin? Well, for most of the things that you're doing, you want everybody to see it. We're not going to deal with populating fields dynamically. That's probably beyond the scope of what we're doing. Conditional logic, the way this works is that we have different things appear depending upon what someone else has already entered. And we wouldn't really have anything that's a terribly good option for showing this right now. Maybe we'll look at another form in a moment and explore that more. You make it so that things only appear if something else has been filled out in a certain way. We don't want this to happen. We don't want this to be a part of our form. That's not what we were aiming for, although we could at some point if we want to. And we have a good number of other options over here. Let's look at another form and we'll find out some more of those options. Let's go into give, for instance. Click edit here, and we have up here at the top the date. This is something that we don't have showing up for everyone, only for the admin. This is a case where we want it to be that there is a date associated with the giving so that we know for sure when it was given, the time that it was given, and that's a part of the form. And we want to know that, but it's not something that they need to see, so we keep it hidden. And we say admin only, and it automatically fills in the date for us when we have it in there in that way. We have name down here, email, and we have a section here that says how would you like to give today, and they have the how much would you like to give today, and they have the option of giving whatever amount they would like to give. This is called product here, and then within product, then you have only the option right now of user-defined price. There are other ways you can do that if you want to sell something in an e-commerce context, but that's not something we need to deal with right now. That's required. No conditional logic with it. Down here we have this section where they can choose between a one-time gift or recurring gift. These are radio buttons. You can basically mess with these and figure out what each one does, but you have multi-select over here means that they can choose more than one option. Or checkboxes, then that's another way to do it. Radio buttons, drop-down menu, any of these things. And they're simple enough. If you want to have other choices besides that, you click, and then now we have a new option, and we can say, I never want to give it all. And then if we want it to be that we have something happen as the result of selecting one of these options, it's fairly simple to make this happen. So someone says they never want to give it all. Then we decide, you know what, if they don't ever want to give it all, we want their address so that we can come visit them and tell them, you should be nice and give to us. And then we have this address field here. We have these different options we can turn on and off of what the requirements are for filling this out. We want to say it's required, but we're only wanting this to be an option that appears if someone doesn't want to give to us. And so then we go down here and we click Enable Conditional Logic. And we say, I would like this to be, and then if they say, I never want to give it all, then it will show up in that way. If you ever want to preview this, then you can click Preview and see how it's going, make sure it's working correctly, and then you see here, it's not actually updated the way that we want it. Well, that's because preview within Gravity Forms is not really preview at all. You have to click Update the form. You have to make it live before you can find out if the changes that you've made are working or not. And it's a frustrating thing at times with the way that Gravity Forms does this, but that's just the way it is. So we're not actually going to test it out. We don't want anybody to have any weird things happen as they're giving and really have the option to say, I never want to give it all. We're going to delete this. We understand the basics of how this would work now. And then we don't really want this option here anymore. It's back to normal. We could click Update Form, maybe just as it was before, but we're not even going to do that. We're just going to go back to Forms over here again. Now for each one of these forms, you notice we have Edit, but we also have Settings and Entries. And of course you can duplicate or preview or throw it away. But with the form settings, you click on here. You can also access these things anytime up here on the top. The form title, the description of the form, several other options here, what you want to say there, whether we want to prevent spam, whether we want to have animations. We're going to check yes on both of those. We have confirmations over here, and this is what shows up when they have filled out the form. You can make it so that they have a different message that comes through. Thank you for contacting us. That's great that it says that. Maybe though instead we want to make the whole thing bold, or we want to have completely different language, or insert an image. Whatever it is you want to do, you can do it right there on that confirmation page. Notifications, this makes it so that the form is given to you, it is sent to you in the form of an email, and we have the email as info@heartwaychurch.com. You have several other options of how you can make this even better. You click this button here and you can take part of the form that they have filled out and make it be automatically filled in. So when someone emails you now, or when you get the email from one of these, then it will have the name as the from name and the email as the from email. You have all the fields that are sent to you. This is not the only place you can access them. You can also click on entries and find them there. Over here we have a PayPal section for this one, and for all these we can have a PayPal section that we add. We're not using it on this one here, but we can go take a look at how that works by going to the Give form. And we have two different PayPal feeds is what we call them. We have the option of a one-time donation or a monthly donation. It's a one-time donation. You click Edit here and you can see the way these things are set up. It's called one-time donation. This is the PayPal email address we have it go to. It's in production mode, it's actually happening. Transaction type is donations. Payment amount is the form total. So it's how much would you like to give us today? I suppose is really what it should be, but either way will work. And then down here we have the billing information, and it's taken from the information that they filled out on the form. You could change it to whatever you want, but of course these are the things we already want them set as right now. This is the button at the very end of the PayPal process, what you want it to say. Notification of payment, and we want it to be that this is used only if they select a one-time gift. And then this will be the fee that is used. And if we go back here for the monthly one, then it is categorized as a subscription. And then we say the recurring amount is how much you'd like to give to us today. This is the amount that we want to have them do each time. How often? 1 month. Every 1 month. How many times? Well, infinitely. If it doesn't work when you build them the first time, and you try to withdraw money the first time, you try again after a failed attempt. You could do a trial period. That's not the way that we're doing things with this. That wouldn't be reasonable for a donation system. We have the same information over here that we had on the other one, except for under enable condition, then the time when this becomes active is when this is the fee that is used, is I would like this to be a recurring monthly gift. That's how it works. Now you could add some new feed within here. You click add new, and we could do something else. And there are other transaction types that we could do for a product if they're ordering something from your website. For some other slight variation on this, I'm not quite sure what it would be. You have the option of doing that. Probably not something you're necessarily going to be doing right now. You click over here on sales, and you can see that you had $2 given. You're really off to a hot start. You can look at the week, look at the month, whatever we want to look at, and we can see how things have been going with people donating here. You can look at similar things on PayPal as well. But PayPal might have other information that gets in the way of seeing this exact number. We have settings for Gravity Forms overall. We have a support license key there. As long as you're with us, then you have that license key. This is one of those things where it's available because it's a website that we have built for you, and based on the license provided by Gravity Forms. And if you were to ever have hosting your support from someone else, then it would either need to be switched over to their license key if they had it, or you might have to pay for Gravity Forms yourself so that it's still continuing to be accessible. Although it does still actually function, it just doesn't have updates provided to you in the future for it. So at some point it would eventually have a problem way down the road. Initially, they would keep working even if you weren't with us. Import-export, not something you need to worry about. Updates, you're fine. Add-ons, you have some other things you could do at some point. We don't need to explore this too much right now, but if you want to have this be connected to some other account, like MailChimp, maybe you'd use that at some point, or survey system at some point, like SurveyMonkey. You want to do Stripe instead of PayPal, something of that nature. You can add some other things on there, and not something you're necessarily going to be dealing with right now, but you could. Once you have one of these forms created, then it's easy enough to have them within a page. We've already done this before on the page tutorial. We're going to do it again just to make sure that you know how to do this. So we go up here, click Add Form. Whatever form you want, then you can put on here. You normally aren't going to want the title and description, but maybe you will. You normally will want to have Ajax enabled. It makes it run more smoothly. You can click Preview, and then we have our form right there. Using forms can be simple enough. It can also be a bit of a challenge at times depending on exactly what you're doing. And so if you keep it simple like we have on these forms here, it shouldn't be a big deal. If you ever get into a place where you're doing something more complicated, then it might be a little bit more complicated. But if you need help, you can call us and we can give you some guidance and let you know at least the right direction to head.